Peace, Facebook, YouTube family. This is Brother Tremont. We're coming to you via video this week, trying something a little different. A couple of weeks ago, I started posting relationship tips on Facebook, and I've gotten a lot of requests to continue that. But I just don't have a lot of time to do it every morning or during the evening, and sometimes I just plain forget. So somebody brought to me the idea to come to you by video via my YouTube page, which I invite you to subscribe to. It's Tremont Muhammad. Go to YouTube and type in Tremont Muhammad and subscribe to the page. But twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays, we'll be giving relationship tips. Now, let me say this at the outset. I'm not an expert or a relationship guru. These are things that I have learned through mistakes. These are things that I have learned through trial and error in my own personal relationships. It's also, as a spiritual leader, it's also things that I have learned in various counseling sessions. It's things that I have learned in counseling sessions between myself and my spouse. And it's also things that I have learned most of all from a wise teacher. And I'm trying to be a good student. So rather than giving a lot of long tweets and long posts on Facebook, because I don't like to type a whole lot, and I would never disrespect your time by making you scroll and scroll and scroll and read a bunch of words, because I know our attention span is very short. So we want to give you some short tidbits or some short tips on relationships twice a week. So check Facebook on Mondays and also on Thursdays for these tips. So for the first tip of the day. Okay, as we lead into tip number one, let me just lay a base for that. The scripture says that my people perish or die for a lack of knowledge. You can take that principle and apply it to anything that's living. A relationship should be a living, breathing entity. So if the relationship has life, the relationship can perish or die for the lack of knowledge. So we have to look at ourselves and ask ourselves, if we really want to be successful in relationships, in marriage, how many books have we read on relationships? How many scriptures have we studied on relationships? So we study things that are very trivial. You know, you have to study to get your driver's license and read a book. You have to study if you want to learn a recipe, learn how to cook. You have to study and read a book. Well, how much more important is it that you're going to spend the rest of your life with this person? So in my opinion, we should spend a lot more time studying relationships and studying how to get along with people, because these tips are not just about marriage, but they're also about relationships in general. When it comes to relationships with your children, relationships with your friends, relationships with families, relationships with parents. But that most important relationship, of course, is marriage, because you're going to wake up with this person and go to sleep with this person every day. So tip number one, sisters, let me help you out a little bit. The number one mistake that you make in dealing with men: you think that we think like you think. We don't think like you think. You have to realize that we were created in two totally different natures. Although we're opposites, those natures complement each other. So rather than learning how to just tolerate each other and the differences, we have to learn how to respect each other and the differences. Now, in this society that we come up in, men, we are not taught to deal with our feelings. Sisters, you are taught and come up naturally dealing with feelings. But men have something called a lack of emotional intelligence. Men are intelligent, we're very intelligent. Some of us have book sense, that's intelligence. Some of us have street smarts, that's intelligent. Some of us have all of that mixed up together. But what you'll find with most of us is we have a lack of emotional intelligence. We just don't know how we feel. So when you do something that offends us, what do we say? I felt a certain type of way about that. Well, what kind of way did you feel? I don't know, but I felt a way about it. See, we're telling you in the language that we use that we really don't even understand our own feelings. So when you sit down and say those words, we need to talk, a man dreads to hear those words, because he knows that he's going to be faced with questions that he just does not have the answers to. So when you ask him about his feelings and he sits there and maybe does not give you an answer, or he just comes up with an answer that seems real surface. It is surface because it takes a man time to absorb what you're saying and to listen to it to take the good from the bad, to take the truth from the falsehood, and to see which parts he's going to take, which parts he's going to throw out. It takes some time to digest it, is what I'm saying. So you have to realize that from the time that we're little boys, we're taught, you know, if you fall down and hurt yourself, get up, dust it off, you'll be all right. If you go to football practice, how you feel? Fine. How you feel? Fine. Attitude check. Attitude fine. You could have just broke your leg. You could have just broke anything. But you still get up and you have to make yourself feel like, I'm fine. And when the coach asks you, you better say, I'm okay. I'm ready to go. So we take that attitude from little boys and grow up and we have the same attitude as big men. So we're never really in touch with our feelings. Stop crying. You're acting like a little girl. Don't be so sensitive. You're acting like a little girl. Well, when you take a young man and tell him that as a youngster, when he grows up, that same attitude is what he has in his adulthood. So this year coming up in September, I will be married. God allows me to live and allows me to continue to be married. I'll be married 18 years with my spouse. So I do think that I have something to share, just like the rest of you have something to share. And I want to encourage you to log on to the YouTube page at Truman Muhammad, log on to the Facebook page, Truman Muhammad, and the Twitter page is Brother Truman, at Brother Truman. And leave comments, leave questions, and I may not have the answer, but trust me, somebody has the answer in the group. And if they don't have the answer, I definitely know where to go to get the answer. So with that said, just wanted to let you know what we'll be doing again on Mondays and on Thursdays. So we'll see you next time. Thank you. P.S. Forgot one thing. Listen, when we do these relationship blogs, we have to know that it's going to take real talk because we have real issues. I'm not going to do a lot of sweet talk. We're going to deal with real issues and real problems and come up with some real solutions. Well, I don't have to come up with it because the answers are already there. This is something that we're going to do twice a week. And the importance of it is, you know, we're not doing this for money. We're doing this really to serve the people because we're not complete and full human beings until we can be made happy and we can make somebody else happy.